presents Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales, where we pull up a log, roast a marshmallow, and settle in as these two blondes talk spooky tales, urban legends, and classic horror icons. Exciting guests, perky blondes, and sinister tales makes this podcast as good as a double stack s'more. So let's join Bethany and Crystal as they gather around the campfire in Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales. Hello and welcome to Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales. I am Bethany. We've got Crystal and we have Rikki. Oh, I did it right.
Yeah, right on. Cool.
We're all together over a year. Bethany finally figured out the mirror effect after 2 seasons.
Darn it.
Well, we are excited to have everyone join us tonight, and we are going to talk about the Mothman. So I'm not sure if everyone has heard about it. I know it's definitely kind of like it's a topic that everyone knows about, but I feel like not a lot of people talk about the Mothman. Like there's not much really known about him. We were kind of looking it up some stuff, and looks like the Mothman started in November 12th, 1966 in West Virginia. So what I found was that a group of grave diggers were working in a cemetery. Always interesting. They spotted something strange. Shocking. They glanced up from their work and saw something huge soaring over their heads. It was a massive figure. It moved rapidly from tree to tree. And the gravediggers would later describe the figure as a sorry, I didn't read this before I said, but as a brown human being, which is probably not the best way to describe something strange. But that was the first reported sighting of the Mothman as an elusive creature. A lot of people describe it as like a bird-like figure. They describe it as, glowing red eyes. That's kind of the traditional view of it. Some people see it as an omen. There's a lot of different theories about that. But yeah, I know you guys both saw a podcast that was like the same podcast together, right? What was that podcast? Do you guys remember?
Well, actually, there's a couple of them that are over an hour long, but one of them in particular that stood out to me was more scientific based, and I think it was a little bit more recent too. So they went into all sorts of stuff that kind of started with, kind of thought processes of mass hysteria, how people work and think in general. And then it just kind of went from there to nature preserves and how things can mutate and change, or how people can perceive things. And then it even evolved into the Native American background in there, and how there was a curse that was placed on there by a chief. So,
Oh, that's right. Do you know more about that?
Well, that one, I believe, November 8th, 1777.
Okay, so a little before mine.
I was a chief, and I'm going to get this wrong because I was doing it phonetically. Chief Ketaqua or something like that. But he cursed the land with the wrath of the Great Spirit. And for them, the Ninimiki tribe there, they talk about wingmen and stuff who speak prophecies, and they usually use like a backward language. And I do remember, kind of checking through a lot of Native American, African, indigenous tribe things. There is a lot of things that are backward in general, as they're kind of what's different. And so the wingman was kind of like Hawkman, it was a winged figure, and they were supposed to be spirits. They were supposed to be kind of cryptic spirit guides, but they were prophetic. They would, speak a language that was backwards. Apparently, it would be a prophecy of some sort, and it would somehow come true. But the chief himself had cursed that whole land with the wrath of the spirit, and I kind of forget why exactly. But I think it was because a white man came in and just kind of took over, and usual.
Yeah, I forget the exact reasoning, but it was something to do with colonialism and white people being the worst.
Which is usual.
The history of our country.
History.
Yes.
You can't sugarcoat that.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat it at all. We came in and
we showed up and everything stopped and was massacred.
Yeah.
Well, Mike obviously had to put in the chupacabra reference, because I feel like the chupacabra is now our official mascot of Campfire Tales.
Yeah, I think so. He's going to be it.
It is.
Yep.
Well, I know a lot of people associate the Mothman with with an omen or a sign or the prophecy. Um, a lot of people first heard of the Mothman between like in the 1960s, pretty much like right around that 66, 67, something like that. But I know that like people were started seeing him or seeing signs of him, and then that was when that disastrous like bridge collapsed.
Yep.
What was it?
It
46
was
lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So there's a bridge disaster. Many thought the Mothman sightings in the small town were a warning that something terrible is about to happen. And then they had that bridge disaster. So
and there were multiple reports that somebody saw something flying over the bridge the night that it happened.
Yeah.
So that's and a lot of the sightings of Mothman slowed down then after the bridge disaster, which is kind of how he became seen more as like an omen.
Gotcha.
Like he kind of showed up, was around, and then this huge disaster happened, and then he hasn't been seen as frequently since then.
Yep.
I wonder if most viewings of him end with like a disaster for the viewer itself, you know, like a disaster for someone personally may not be a disaster that other people see. So I wonder if the individual sightings have caused a disaster for the person who viewed the sightings.
I don't remember anything like that coming up in interviews of people that had claimed to see him.
Yeah.
So I like that theory, but I just don't like in interviews. I don't think anybody ever mentioned like, oh, I saw him and then this happened to me a few days later. Like there weren't a lot of stories like that.
Well, and to kind of play along, it could be that maybe people who have seen him think of that. So then it avoids the disasters. I don't know. I'm going like way down the rabbit hole of like Final Destination. And I'm like, hey, if you can stop something from happening, but what if that's what was supposed to happen? I don't know.
Yeah, this isn't Final Destination.
It's the Mothman. So, I mean, come on. What's up, Jed? There's Jennifer, our guest from last episode. Hey, she's all, what's up, guys? And then, of course, Mike's Jeepers Creepers guy is a Mothman.
I've heard that connection. I've definitely heard that connection before.
I was thinking that myself. So
yeah, because he does. At least in one of the movies, he has wings.
I think in all the movies he has wings.
Yeah. I don't feel like they show him with wings in the first one. Maybe I'm misremembering.
In the first one, because he like flies away.
That's how he ends. Yeah, that's how he takes out the cop and all that.
Apparently, I just forgot I remember him like basically flying. I just don't remember seeing wings.
No, look, I will tell you everything about the Jeepers Creepers movie. That's my favorite movie.
What's great about that is they set out to create their own monster. So, I mean, that was cool.
Yeah, they did awesome. Yeah. And no coincidence whatsoever with the post that I shared from Scott today with the Jeepers Creepers character standing in line at the DMV trying to get a personalized license plate.
Nice.
Oh, you should have had the one that I showed you last week when I thought the podcast was. With the I'm going to be something good or something like that. It was the little caterpillar, and this is like how I am today. It's the Mothman.
Go little caterpillar, become the Mothman. I love it.
Yeah. That's the very misunderstood caterpillar right there.
Right.
Mike goes, if a Mothman flaps his wings in South Carolina, does it cause a tornado in North Dakota? And then, of course, Jen is like, yeah, it's a great question.
I mean, I don't know, because Mothman lives in West Virginia, so.
Well, does he live there, or does he just like vacation there?
Well, there's a whole thing about how maybe for a while maybe he nested in that bridge, but then he kind of moved towards the whole TNT area for. Okay, so at about that same time, you were talking about 1966. Two young couples, blah blah blah. They had reported seeing like this skinny, tall, flying man with wings. And they were in the TNT area, which was a site that was for the former World War II munitions plant. Mm-hmm. And there's like active stuff that's still there that can kind of still go off.
Yeah, like toxic leaks and things like that.
Yeah, there's been actual like contamination confirmed.
Yeah, and it's been like affecting animals and plant life and stuff. And one of the things that they talk about is how kind of like an alien scenario where it will mess with their electronics. You get buzzy noises, and then they always describe like this weird like not chirp but like buzz. Basically, it's very similar to what a sandhill crane would sound like. Which
and also the size. I'm glad like. If you didn't bring up the sandhill crane, I would have eventually, because like the size of the sandhill crane, like there's no actual true confirmed sightings of the sandhill crane in West Virginia, but it could potentially have gone through there. And they have a wingspan of like 10 feet, which is huge. Like they're really big.
Bigger than the California Concorde?
I don't know.
I mean, the albatross is supposed to have the widest wingspan.
Albatross. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. They also just can't.
California
land.
Concorde wingspan. Let's find out.
Or was it the I don't know. I just remember there was a show I watched that was a horror movie, and he did the bird, and it was California. It's like a really big one,
as opposed to the kind of the My Greatest American Hero movie, the Condor Man.
I didn't see that. I'm trying to do
the California Condor. It's about the same. Theirs is about 9.5 feet. So the sandhill crane's a little bit bigger, but like that's a negligible
by 6 inches. Okay, for some people that's a lot, I guess. But
yeah, I like ask a man.
She's all pterodactyl.
Hey, if Nessie's still around.
Oh. So I'm trying to do, because this whole thing that we're talking about, how we have our little banners underneath that have like little sayings. I don't know why we don't have that right now.
Yeah,
I actually thought of one tonight.
So did I.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get it, and I don't know why we don't have it.
It must be a new update or something.
Well, I think because I put that little thing on the bottom. You're watching Blonde.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know how to turn that off now, because I don't even know how I got that on there.
It's just more of Bethany being tech deficient.
Exactly.
We'll handle
why
that.
I marry IT guys and date them. Are we talking manages?
See,
wow.
Jen's thinking the same thing I'm thinking about. Ask a man. 6 inches is a lot.
Okay, I'm sorry, because we like to go off topic and then we'll get back to stuff.
Never.
I have a joke for you guys that is highly inappropriate. So trigger warning for people who don't like jokes. But I was watching TikTok, and I was watching, I always see like the supernatural conventions and stuff. And they just came out with like another convention. And this lady, she was like, hey, you know what? You guys provide a bunch of entertainment for us. So I'm going to entertain you. And she gave him a joke. And the joke was, what's the difference between men and snowstorms?
What?
Snowstorm coming?
Wow, nice.
But there's absolutely nothing because you don't know how many inches you're going to get, and you never know when they're going to come.
That's cold. That's just cold. Which might affect the edges, so.
Gosh.
Snow doesn't complain.
Whatever versus snow doesn't complain. Mike, Londa's here because she's like, do those people show up here? I don't know with our show. It's so funny. Hadley had mentioned that like this certain group of people love to like tune in and just watch our show, which I think that's awesome. And I feel really bad for them at the same time, because I'm like, I'm so sorry that we're your entertainment. But I feel like we're good entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think so.
Okay, I'm going to play the sound of the sandhill crane, if I get this word, because it's supposed to sound a lot like this. I mean, at night, if you happen to see some tall, scrawny, big-winged entity, like rise up and take off, and its eyes are glowing because your light's shining in it, and it sounds like that. I mean, that's kind of freaky.
Yeah, and they do nocturnal creatures in general tend to, if a light shines in their eyes will reflect red. So
Exactly.
there is, I mean, it's definitely interesting, like when you're listening to like the science of like, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Truth is, it's not confirmed what it was, but a lot of people, you know, there's definitely been a lot of sightings, and there's definitely a lot of theories out there. And there's a Mothman pageant during the
Yes.
festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point
So they have,
Pleasant,
yeah,
all over it.
all over it. It's like Point Pleasant, because that's where like all the Mothman stuff started, was Point Pleasant. And so that's where they have the museum, the statue. They have a festival every year, and there's a pageant that goes along with the festival. So like, and one of the girls was like, and there's the Mothman dance, and homo heterosexual. What?
Okay.
Oh, you got it.
And then we will talk about our headers that I finally got put on for the people who just listened.
Sorry, I just like
On-
mid sentence got
on
distracted.
Spotify.
Like,
And they don't see what we're seeing. So you know what? Go ahead and keep going about that pageant.
but anyway, there's like, they have a Mothman dance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the dance, but there's like a song and dance that they have to do as part of the pageant, and they're like, Mothman's very American, and I was just like, this is amazing. How did I not know of these things?
I feel like they do it in the dark, and people just shine flashlights to make their eyes reflect on them.
Or,
That
you
would
know,
be-
dark light, black light, and maybe glow sticks and stuff, because that'd be awesome.
Mhm.
Yep. Well, it's got to be a rave. Come on.
I mean, come on.
It's what's funny is they're like the normal depiction of Mothman looks kind of like, you know, he's dark and edgy, like a Batman or something. But then
Yeah.
but then the sculpture that they have at Point Pleasant for Mothman looks like it's Butterfly Guy or something. It's just the wings are butterfly-ish.
So
They're
some
kind of
people,
torn a little bit. People are obsessed with his booty. They like to put quarters in it.
Yeah, you saw that.
is that the picture you sent me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll get to that in a second.
And the Mothman Museum does not want people to put quarters in his butt.
Oh my
And a lot of people ask a fair question. Why did you make him so stacked if you don't want quarters in his butt? I'm like, that's a fair question, honestly.
I mean,
That is so very-
they would make money. With cakes
So
like
Mike's-
that.
Mike says
Right?
he has the perfect mascot for us. It's going to be a chupacabra based on a Furby look.
Oh no.
Okay, if anybody can make us a chupacabra Furby,
Wow.
I would love that. I
Yes.
don't know how to make that myself, but
We
yes.
all need like our little, like, you know how like at the end of Buffy and Angel they have the little grr arg.
Arr.
We need like the chupacabra going you know, or like with his crane sound that he had.
Yeah, we'll have a little chupacabra, but we'll give him the Mothman sound.
He's all that's my dear. Yep, Mike's already got Morgana on it. I love this is what I love. We start talking about quarters in the statue, we lose like 3 viewers. We start talking about chupacabra, we gain viewers.
Apparently, some people just don't like to talk about the Mothman's butt. That's on them.
I guess so. I mean,
That is on them. Has nothing to do with us.
okay. So, Crystal, what did you put on yours? Night dweller can't fly. Nice, Rikki. I
The
don't even know.
Mothman is a night dweller that can fly, so you know.
That is true.
You got the truth is out there.
Okay. That is because I was trying to put like Mothman, misunderstood bird or creature, you know, but it was like too long. And I tried so many different variations of it because I actually had like misunderstood crane and things on there and nothing was working. So I was like, you know what?
I mean,
X-Files.
that's fair because that is actually one of the theories is that it has something to do with aliens. And there were reports of men in black around town during like that were following up on all the Mothman activities. So
But
I
how
feel
would
like
you
that's
know?
fair.
That is fair. But at the same time, how would you know that the men in black were around? Because don't they have the little like pew and like you can't see anymore?
In
Or
the Will
remember
Smith
stuff?
movie, they do.
Yeah.
In real life,
You would think they would.
Will
Microwaves.
Smith movies are not real life. That's all I
I
can
know
tell
they're
you.
not real life. Okay.
Unless he's slapping somebody, we ain't. Oh.
I mean, they just went around town asking people questions.
I love how Mike's already marketing us right now. He's like, you can have T-shirts with your podcast
I
tire.
mean, he should just be in charge of all our merchandise.
Get your
Exactly.
Chupa merch.
Our Chupa merch. Yep.
Be like from Trimmers.
Okay, Rick,
And then
I just
I don't
want to
know-
know.
Yeah, I don't know why we're about Furbies, but
Oh, jeez.
I've heard of that.
So they're having a whole Chupacabra comment like thing going on in the comments right now.
I mean, it wouldn't be a true Furby.
Yep.
So.
Okay. All right. What were you saying, Crystal?
I can't pronounce Rick's.
Okay,
See,
so yeah, the genus phylum classification Homo heteroceros occidento virgininus, Virginianus.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We say that. We just lost a viewer. Thanks.
Oh well.
They're like Homo heteroceros.
All right. I'm out of here.
Virgin
head
anus. Your words are no Virginia is yeah, that was supposed to be the scientific classification, basically. The taxidermy classification is what I put it under.
So you brought
Oh,
something
that's
like
that's the classification of Mothman.
Yes.
Oh, and here I was thinking it was just a man that was an accidental virgin. Like,
Right? That's what you get from being in Virginia. I mean, you know.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, okay, like, but no, you went like super serious science with it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You realize the first word in our title is blondes, right? Like that's a lot.
Well, that's the beauty of getting a sunburn is my blonde highlights come out naturally.
But you know what? Okay. Can I show your photo or no?
You can, sure.
Oh my gosh.
I'm ugly.
You are not ugly. You're a very
You're
handsome
just
man.
very, very sunburned.
You're
That
very
is all.
burned.
We're in
Just so
Arizona.
everyone understands, poor Rikki has an incredible sunburn right now. He had a rough day at work and got like punched in the face. He's
This is
got
normal skin color.
yeah. You want to okay? I don't know if I can show. I'm trying not to show too much. There's the variation of red versus white.
That just looks so painful. It makes me hurt.
It looks
looking
It
at
is.
We need to get you like some. Yeah, we got to get you some aloe vera.
So
I've
there's
got
this amazing
moisturizer
new
on.
invention too, SPF 100.
I have two flavors, vanilla and strawberry. And I
You know what? You can't steal that. I've been saying that for years.
so have I.
Yeah, but the SPF 100 helps prevent the strawberry.
That is true.
This
That
is
is-
while I was wearing a hat, so you know, and I was in the shade. It's just
What were you doing?
I actually took our group to Lakeside Park.
Oh, that's
It's-
where
it's
you got
great
that
now.
giant. That's where
Yeah.
you and Tom went down the hill on your skateboards and skinned up your whole side, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, there's a core memory from my childhood.
Yep. But our grandpa used to fish there all the time. So
Who and Grandpa?
Grandpa Stutzman.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I love how while we're talking about this, our comment section is talking about Yoda and
Do not
fur baby.
insult Yoda.
They've gotten to a chupa fur baby. They can talk to each other.
Is Yoda a chupacabra?
Jen says they look like they're cousins. Mike says Yoda's a chupacabra. Lana's like, don't insult Yoda about that.
Cabra chupa I am.
I feel like they just gave up on us and they're having their own discussion.
They're like, we don't need to hear about this stuff.
Yeah, we're like, we're done with Mothman. We're
Our
talking about-
comment section's going off on their own tangent.
Okay, so does anyone know of any accounts regarding the Mothman? Or did you read any? Or heard-
Did one of them was similar to what Mom experienced at least. That was why I brought that up at one point. They were it was a mother and daughter, and they were driving along, and they said that they didn't quite run over something, but they could see this giant bird-like figure rise up from the street behind them. and then just take off into the air. And I remembered Mom talking about how she and her aunt went, they were driving at night, and this giant bird just kind of suddenly rose up in front of them and just missed them. And, it was probably an eagle or a hawk. But still, out here, that was her Mothman version in Arizona.
Yeah. Well, that I can see how the Mothman can be just interpreted. Well, okay, Indy. I can see how the Mothman, like, people can take it as like it's just a bird flying up by the car, but they just take it as something else. Maybe they have other stuff going on in their lives, in their mind, and they're like, "There's my sign, there's my omen," But it's really just like an owl trying to, catch its food for the night or something like that. But
if it is something like the sandpiper crane, that's such a huge bird.
That's
that
big.
Late at night with bad lighting, it would be easy to
exactly
mistake it for like some humanoid creature.
Like, I had a bunny run out in front of my car once and scared the crap out of me because I wasn't expecting it. So I can't imagine like a 9-foot wingspan bird with reflective eyes flying up right in front of my car.
Yeah. I had a javelina run in front of my car once in high school.
Did you hit it? Or
As I was coming around a curve. That was...
Javelina can get big.
They can, and they will.
And they're not even pigs.
Huh?
And they're not even pigs.
No, they're more closely related to the hippopotamus.
To rodents, but...
Okay, I read hippopotamus.
Oh, okay. We'll have to look at that one.
Well, now I gotta Google this. Okay.
Ooh. Massive cave system, huh?
Wait, I'm trying to catch up on the comments here. Okay. All right. Mike wants to know if there's any Mothman type creatures or stories anywhere around the world.
Not really.
Well,
okay. Someone said in England there's a type of Mothman known as the Owlman.
Owls and moths are not the same thing.
Okay, but when you think of wingspan and flying and creatures, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but it's it's a type of story kind of like that.
Batman was taken.
Yeah, the sightings are similar in terms of let's see, the Owlman name was given to a large owl-like humanoid entity, similar to the Mothman. It lives in England, has been sighted several times. The first sighting took place in 1976, which, given our 60s to 70s type thing, besides Rikki's 1777 thing. The Owlman is sometimes seen as the English counterpart to the Mothman due to the similarities. Oh, there's a picture. Well, the picture looks exactly like the Mothman, so never mind. So I don't know if there's any other around the world type.
Well, in the jungles of Java, there's the Ahul, and that's a modern cryptid. And basically, it's a large bat-like monster with a monkey-like face and stuff. And it has this, gnarly sound that it emits. And so essentially kind of similar.
So it's a bat with a monkey face?
Yeah, well, it's, jungle. So
you don't know what happens out there in the jungle.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to picture that.
They have pictures if you look up Ahool, Ahul.
Yeah, I feel like my imagination is going a whole nother route right now.
I just feel like bat faces, I could see bat faces are actually pretty cute. Bats are adorable.
They are really cute, especially when they're eating little fruit things.
Yeah, but I could see on a very large bat how it could have similar things to a monkey face, possibly.
Yeah, Jen's asking how big the Mothman is. Supposed to be like
7 to 8 feet.
Yeah, if we're talking about the Concorde and all that stuff, the similarities. Yeah, it's 6 to 8 feet or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Alan says West Virginia has a massive cave system. It could live there too. Leave there. It might.
There's a lot of caves there. Yeah.
Nope. It's a neck suit from the future, and they're screwing with time. I don't know what that means. I'm sure that's what we talked about before. I'm just trying to catch up. And Alana's like, I'm just not going to go to West Virginia.
I think it's really just Point Pleasant. Like that really seems to be where all Mothman activity centers around Point Pleasant.
Yeah. Jen's talking about the javelinas. Okay, rodents of unusual size and dangerous. What was the one from Princess Bride?
An ROUS, a rodent of unusual size.
Oh, that's what
Exactly
it was.
that.
Yes. Of which, here's a little bit of trivia for that.
Yeah.
The guy that played that, the actor, they had to hold off on the shooting because the actual actor for that was arrested, was detained for speeding, and so they had to wait until he can finally show up, and then they were able to shoot that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was playing the rodent of the unusual size.
Yeah.
Interesting. Londa thinks she saw that on Grimm. I don't know if that's the chupacabra, the javelina, or the Mothman.
I don't think a javelina would be on Grimm.
Well, I don't think the Mothman was on Grimm. Or javelina. I don't know what was on Grimm. I know Grimm, but I don't remember that one. Mike is actually pretty close with the Batman and Mothman correlation, because there's some theories out there that because Batman was so popular at the time that the Mothman was sighting, that Mothman and Batman, that's how the correlation kind of started. So
that's actually where Mothman got his name, was from the Batman comics, because there was a Mothman character in the Batman comic.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually where Mothman got his name from. Is from
Gotcha.
Batman.
And then Jen and Londa have both just bonded over the fact that they're both going to die petting something they shouldn't.
I mean, same.
Mike
that sounds exactly like how I die. Oh, hi there.
Are putting on a mechanical suit and coming back in time just to screw with the timeline and change it. I mean, yeah.
I mean, that would definitely be evil because if that's why that bridge collapsed, and that's like the worst bridge disaster in our country's history, that would be pretty evil. Like, I'm just going to go F up the 60s and kill off some people.
Yeah. Did you guys see the video of the bridge collapse that just recently happened, though?
With the boat?
The one in Maryland. Yeah.
That was, unfortunately, people lost their lives. Fortunately, it was not as many as there could have been, because people kind of stopped it, like saw what was happening, and they kind of stopped traffic a little bit.
And it was late at night too.
Yeah, like early morning, late night, like 1 or 2 a.m. something type thing.
Yeah, but if you watch that video, you can see like the traffic. Like it was still pretty steady traffic up until like right before the boat hit.
Yeah. So. From what I understand, some people kind of saw what was happening, or they heard something or whatever. And so some pedestrians actually got out of their cars and stopped some of the traffic, so that way they wouldn't keep crossing the bridge. But when I watched that video, I didn't hear what was going on. I didn't know anything. And just someone had posted the video, and I started to watch it. And it literally took my breath away when I saw the bridge collapse. It was like, that's insane. Like, you watch it in movies, you hear about it and things like that, but to actually see it happen, like that was just very insane.
And
what happened.
With the recent bridge disaster, like a lot of people, people are throwing conspiracy theories out immediately, and they're just like, it was in bad shape and blah, but that's not even it. Like, and like engineers are like, so you have this giant ship and it hit a bridge. Like, it doesn't have to be in bad shape for that to, they're like, it's like this ship is like hundreds of tons. So it's going, if it hits something, it's going to destroy it. Like, that's,
fortunately it's not as bad as it could have been, but fortunately, unfortunately, for the lives that were lost, the construction crew that were on there and everything. I know, I don't think anyone from the boat was hurt that I read.
So I think everybody that was injured were people that went into the water. So they were on the bridge. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, well, getting back to the Mothman on stuff, what other stuff do you guys have on that?
You know, what if we had giant mothballs? Would that prevent them from hanging out in your area? I mean, it's kind of like garlic for vampires.
But like, can you imagine the
Just to
smell?
smell the like igloos that they have from all the like from when they were storing all the weapons into like giant mothballs. Mothballs smell so bad though.
They do.
Mothballs will scare anybody away. Nobody would ever come visit. They'd be like, I'm not going to that town. It smells like mothballs.
That town is safe because nobody's there. Oh my goodness.
Do they still make mothballs? I feel like it's even been a long time since I've seen them.
Yeah. And they'll use natural wood scent things like not pine, cedar and stuff is supposed to help. So.
I know when I've had to pack clothes away, I've used cedar. So maybe it's just because I don't look for mothballs because I want to avoid anything smelling like that.
But not very much stuff is made from wool lately. So that's most of where that was from. Because like the little eggs and stuff would be inside the wool.
Oh, so, okay.
The fibers. Yeah.
Nice. Well, do you guys have anything else with Mothman that you were talking about or that you read about or?
Well, there was one interview that I saw on one of the, I think it was on a BuzzFeed one that I was watching, where like a couple people from BuzzFeed went to investigate the Mothman, and they were talking to somebody that's been around the town for a long time. She's like, well, I have this friend who was like a new mom when everything was going on, and she said that the Mothman broke into her house and was like trying to kidnap her 6-month-old baby, but she was able to wrestle the baby away from it. And I'm like, that's the only one that I've ever heard like that. And then the lady was kind of funny. She's like, well, that's her story. Like she didn't believe it herself. So I'm like, I mean, that would be interesting. Like, I don't know how you could wrestle. I'm like, I'd be scared to wrestle something over a baby. Like, I'd be so scared of hurting the baby.
Yeah.
Like a 6-month-old baby. Yeah. But
yeah.
I'm a little bit skeptical on that one too.
Yeah. A lot of the Mothman sightings are more beneficial or benign, as in it's a warning or prophesying against, some danger that's coming up, which gives them a chance to get away. So the idea is that, the dude's supposed to be helpful, usually. There was one account also where, it was a couple was chased and then he was looking in through the windows and stuff at him, but that one was also kind of discounted by most of the other people that were there.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a lot that was linking the Mothman to aliens and UFOs, and there were definitely a lot of lights seen in the sky around the time, and people seeing ships in the sky that they thought were UFOs. And then there was a story of one guy that, and I think this is in the book, the Mothman Prophecies, but I'm not 100% sure. But he it was a humanoid figure that pulled up alongside his car and was talking to him, and he didn't realize it at first, but he was talking to him telepathically. And he was just showing him, he's oh, and he was telling him different things. Just totally friendly and being you should go over there. And he thought that might have been the Mothman, but he said yeah, he was friendly and just really nice. But he was speaking telepathically, and he looked very humanoid, very humanoid features for the most part, except, the moth wings. And I thought that was really interesting. And then he got conjunctivitis of the eye later, and somebody else had a similar story, and they also got conjunctivitis of the eye. So apparently the Mothman gives you pink eye.
Yeah, that's
okay.
So just something to be careful of if you ever meet him. He's nice, but you might get pink eye. Maybe that's why his eyes are red. He just
maybe there's a reaction with the reflectiveness in the red eye.
Oh my word! Yeah.
Hocus pocus.
my gosh. I mean, well, Jen said that she would fight anything for a kid, and I'm like, I mean, I understand that, but the way she was like describing it, it was like they were actually like sounded like they were grabbing the kid and like fighting over it, and I'm like, that. It's not that I wouldn't fight to save a 6-month-old baby. I just don't think I'd grab the baby and try to like yank it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe beat at the arms or whatever, or
Yeah,
these large bulbous eyes.
Yeah, because apparently this woman was very clear about she didn't like fight that. She didn't actually fight Mothman. She just struggled to pull the baby away and was successful. So maybe Mothman was like, I'm not going to yank this baby apart. You know, maybe he was just
totally
curious.
Not King Titus right there.
You know,
Or maybe it was somebody dressed up as a Mothman. Maybe
that was
Batman.
going to try to steal the
There's
baby.
a Batman. Oh my goodness.
A walking pink eye.
Wait, what? Jen goes, the things I could want to say about Pink Eye. And then, no, you beat the crap out of walking Pink Eye.
Yeah, that's what I would go for. I'm like, I don't care if he's 8 feet tall. I would go for him and I would make sure I wasn't hitting anywhere near the baby itself.
Yeah. Go towards the source, not
Keep
the
the wings from going so you can't get away. You know. that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
he has wings. Punch a hole in his wings. Bam.
Wow. Or break it. No.
I mean, if
Well,
they're like
yeah,
moth
they're out,
wings,
like-
those things are very delicate. You never touch a moth's wings because you basically will kill them. So
You know,
if Mothman's threatening you, it makes sense go after his wings.
But like, how delicate would the Mothman's wings be? Like, if you're talking about a moth, okay, who's like 1 inch or 2 inches long versus 9 to 10 feet.
I don't think their wings are delicate because of their size. I think they're just delicate because they're delicate. Because hummingbird wings are strong.
they
yeah,
are.
and I would imagine that the Mothman's bone structure would have to be pretty light so you can get off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know
It
if
has to
like
be
if
very
you just
light.
touch it, it'll be like dusty then. Like, isn't that what happens to moth? Like, you touch it and they're just kind of like dust.
It just kind of like falls off. Yeah, that's what I imagine. It would just be like a moth. Like if he's truly a Mothman, his wings should be as delicate as a moth wings, which would actually make more sense because like something that people were talking about, you know, like with birds, they have the bone structure that's like very hollow, and that's part of why they're so light because they have to be light enough to fly. So they have like all these like so. People were wondering if Mothman has bone structure like that. And I'm like, that's possible. He could also just be like an exoskeleton creature, just like an insect. And like his exoskeleton looks similar to humans, but it's still exoskeleton. And then that would be lighter than our type of bone structure, right? And then the moth wings being moth wings would be lighter than a bird's wings. And then he can be 8 feet tall and still fly.
So to bring the nerd part of this into here, there has been a lot of discussion about exoskeleton critters of a certain size, how they can't ever get bigger than a certain size because they wouldn't be able to hold the weight, they wouldn't be able to function, you know, that sort of stuff. And you would essentially have something that looked like an exoskeleton critter, you know, but has to have an internal setup to support it and all that, and different types of organs. Because usually the sphericals on a insect, you know, that they breathe through, I mean, it's directly connecting to the outside, and you'd have to have like holes like this all along him that, you know, like an ant could crawl in or something. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, so maybe not totally scientific,
and yes,
but since like contamination from the weapons is something, maybe the radiation made his exoskeleton stronger or made him stronger so that he could be larger and still have an exoskeleton.
or how about he's got that it's kind of a genital defect, congenital defect, where they grow like scales and stuff over body parts and stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of like I think it's based off the herpes virus. So
So the Mothman has herpes?
yeah, pink eye, herpes.
Pink eye, man, he has a rough.
The Mothman get like a bad rap. course, Londa says he's going to trigger her allergies over here.
That's why she's never going to West Virginia.
I know. Mike actually has a pretty good relation here with Mimic.
Yeah. That was kind of where I went when you were talking about that as well.
Yeah. Of course, Jen's like, great movie. It is a good movie.
I think there's part 2, right? Or 3?
There is like a Jen's all walking STD. Or flying STD. Yeah, no, I think there's like 2 Mimic movies.
Yeah.
So is there 2?
I think so, but that's essentially the bugs evolving. So yeah. Which is very much like the theory of the Mothman. So he got exposed in the TNT area and evolved. Then there you go.
You know who else got exposed to radiation?
Godzilla.
Sorry. Oh.
What were you saying, Crystal?
Toxic Avenger.
The what?
Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yes. No, well, Avenger or Crusader? Toxic Crusader.
No, Toxic Avenger is...
He's gross, but he still gets girls. I remember that in his theme song.
What? I don't know this.
It was an 80s cartoon.
Oh, no. What I'm talking about is an 80s... We might be talking about different things. I'm talking about an 80s B horror movie where they end up...
based off of that, yeah.
You said Toxic Avenger?
Toxic Avenger. And he was a nerd.
1984 film.
I think they just like tossed him into a bunch of like radiation.
Okay, because Toxic Crusaders was a different thing. All right.
Okay. So similar time frame, just different things. I mean, there's a lot of things that center around people going into radiation. So that's fair. Toxic Avenger is ridiculous, though.
I just like the title for Toxic Avenger says he was 98 pounds of solid nerd until he became the Toxic Avenger. And like, there's his photo.
Hey, you guys.
Exactly like it. But with like, it looks like he has a mop, like he was a janitor or something.
Yeah.
This is the first superhero, the first superhuman hero from New Jersey.
Well, and then RoboCop, at the end of it, they're fighting in this chemical plant, and the bad guys get, or the main bad guy gets doused by the chemicals to the point to where when he runs into it, he just splatters.
Oh, my gosh.
Because it's toxic. It's 80s Toxic Crusader stuff.
They were, the 80s was super about what happens if you get attached. Like, if you become radiated but don't die.
Yeah. Like, how can we alter someone to make them cooler? Pretty much. Whatever.
Let's expose somebody to radiation, but instead of dying or getting sick, they're just going to be really cool now.
What's the extent of experiments we can do on the human body, pretty much? That was the 80s.
Hi, Halo.
I mean, that could be.
Oh, knock him over.
It could be that's what happened to Mothman. He's from where all the World War II weapons were stored.
Yeah.
That's the very most of the sightings were near all that TNT area and igloos where they stored everything, which are not ice igloos, but they were concrete,
right? Like bunkers and stuff.
Yeah. But they do call them igloos, and they're still there and they're abandoned. But there is also still live weapons there, so. If you decide you're a person that wants to go looking in the woods for Mothman, please don't step on any live weapons.
Please don't step on live weapons.
Yeah.
Unless you know how to fly.
Yep. There you go.
Unless you already know how.
So, Rick, is that Halo right there?
Yeah.
Aww.
She decided to come across and visit with us.
She's finally accepted that you're going to be on podcast now, and so she has to make an appearance.
Olive doesn't care. I think she's still back there, though.
Yeah, she's just doing her thing.
Her back turned. She doesn't care.
She's all picking like one of your French ones, Jack.
She has every confidence in herself, so she doesn't feel the need to seek attention.
Londa needs it. Here you go, Londa. He's right there. Well, you can't tell because there's a black TV screen.
No, you can still see him.
Here,
he's still there, looking all sleek.
Right there. There you go. There's some eyeballs.
You show the lights on it so that the eyes glow red, like the lupus.
Right? Yeah, Mothman right here.
Moss
I'm
cat.
actually very happy that Olive is not a desk kitty, although she's been trying to be lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, she keeps trying to climb on me while I'm working, and I'm like, this is not a good time at all.
Well, do you guys have any final stuff you want to talk about regarding the Mothman, or any other notes that you wanted to say about it?
I think I'm just going to say that I agree with all the quarter people out there. If they didn't want quarters in his butt, they shouldn't have given him so much cake. So, if I ever see the Mothman statue, I probably will be adding a quarter to his butt.
There you go. There you go.
Gotcha. I can't add to that. It's just
Yeah,
I got nothing.
I feel like that's a really good sign off for our show tonight.
If you don't want us to add quarters, don't make the cake so stacked.
Exactly.
We're going to make the cake stacked. We're going to add some quarters.
Now,
I mean, you could totally gather those quarters and like donate them to something.
Right. Make a better statue.
Make one that's less stacked in the back.
Make the edgy one on the other side of town or on the edge of town. You know, I'm Mothman.
Oh, that would be fantastic. On the new statue, you can put a quarter in his butt and it'll make his wings flap.
Wow.
That would be amazing.
and Jen's over here just wanting some cake.
I mean,
And
cake
apparently
is-
Londa thinks Indy's on fire. So anyway, well, I feel like that's a good episode.
All right. So join us for our next show then on May 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be discussing season 2 of Supernatural.
Yep. We're gonna do
It's our seasonal Supernatural episode.
Yep. Yeah, we need to have one of those each time. And then an exciting announcement, we are going to have the our guest host, Mark Tufo, on for May 21st. So for those of you who do not know who Mark Tufo is, he is actually a very, very great author. I think he has a publishing company as well. I feel like he kind of carved the way a lot for a lot of indie authors in the zombie genre. So I'm really excited to have Mark on there, on here. I think it's going to be really, really fun. If anyone wants to look up his stuff before we do the episode, it is going to be the Zombie Fallout series. He has the Lycan series. He has Demons Beware series. He has a lot of series. And I feel like everybody's favorite character is either Mike or Trip. So if you read any of his stories, you will understand who Trip is. Fun thing with Rick, Tom actually was telling me, our brother Tom, he was telling me, he goes, hey, I was listening to this audiobook. And he's like, do you know this guy, like Mark Tufo? I was like, oh my God, it's Mark. Like, so it's just funny that our brother, who never reads zombie stuff or anything like that, comes across Mark. So
Nice.
Nice. That's really cool.
yeah, so we're really excited to have Mark on here on the 21st. And then, like Crystal said, we're going to talk about Supernatural on, what was it, May 7th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be May.
It's going to be May. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Actually, sorry, girls.
This is our only opportunity to throw that joke out there.
Exactly. We got to have that. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will definitely see you again in 2 weeks when we talk about our favorite topic ever, which is Supernatural. But thank you for joining us with Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everybody.